Kate Falcha. Welcome to Irish Granny Helen. I'm making this video as a request for a subscriber about, how do I say this? People I can't stand. I have personal and ideological reasons for why I don't like these people. So I've really avoided talking about them much or doing anything about them with cards, but I do want to do the cards for the viewer. So I will just give you a gigantic caveat. I don't know very much about them. I have lots of opinions, but I don't know factual stuff about them. And when there's a choice, I probably will err on the side of being unflattering and negatively critical. So I apologize ahead of time. So who are we talking about? Harry and Meghan. So let me first do the question. Each other, their relationship. Let's look at their relationship, because there's a lot of debate. Does she lead him around by the nose? Do they really love each other? Was this a manipulation on her part? A lot of animosity towards her. I'll tell you how much I'm almost afraid to talk about this because I don't want to offend anybody. But this is this is a testament to my obliviousness. I so studiously ignored everything about them. And one day my husband brought it up and he said something about them. And I said, well, you know, I don't really know anything about them. I'm trying to change the subject. And his response to me, and it was appropriate in the context, he says, well, you know, the media, they hate her. And I said, oh, they do? Because I don't know. I wasn't following. He goes, yeah, especially in England, they really hate her. You know, and then he went on to say, I think it's because she's biracial. And I said, wait a minute, who are we talking about? And he said, you know, the one who married the redheaded guy in England, the prince. And I knew what she looked like. I said, oh, I didn't know she was biracial. That's how much I didn't follow her. I had no idea. Now, I found out subsequently she was on a TV show. I never saw it, so I don't know. This is coming from a place of pure ignorance, which should give you a lot of confidence. Let's see what we get. Harry and Meghan, their relationship. The lovebirds. Okay. Well, you know, this is a sad story, and I think it reflects what I've heard. There's definitely an alpha and a beta in the relationship. So their relationship formulated on the basis of aggression. It happened quickly. And it was the result of somebody, this is the two, right? Yeah, the Two of Wands. This came about in, oh, this is interesting, it just occurred to me. Black and white, I think that's very interesting because I do believe she was the aggressor. And I do believe she had her eye on the prize. So we kind of know how it started. Let's put it that way. There was some intent on her part to be with him. In the atmosphere, kind of overriding everything about this relationship is the fact that he will not be king. The emperor reversed. But I think this is also indicative of his personality. I think he's more passive in this relationship. I think he has been trained from birth. You're not going to be king. He takes a back seat. He took a back seat to his brother. Now, I don't know what their personalities are like, but he's not considered. Look at what he named his book. Now, I know about this. I thought it was kind of a funny name for a book, Spare. And it comes from that saying that the English royal family, they have an heir and a spare in case something happens to the heir. They have to have a male. They want to have a male inheritor of the throne. Now, they have the law of primogeniture. With the firstborn, girl or boy, is in charge. That's how they could have the queen. But to be the second son has got to feel like you're second best, second class, not considered first. There's got to be, from the very beginning, when you see your older brother, who you probably look up to, when you see him always being the center of everything, people deferring to him, that's got to be tough. It's got to be pretty hard. And at the foundation, we have the 8 of coins. Their relationship is very much predicated on his work, his wealth, his position. This situation with him, who he is, definitely the big attraction. Here she is. Interestingly enough, the Lion of England, right? And she's taming the Lion of England. It gives me the chills to see the iconography in these cards because they're very much in keeping with the narrative of what's going on here, I feel like. I was predisposed to believe that most of what we hear is nonsense. Cards don't seem to think so. This was her choice. This was an act of conscious opting out, opting for him. I definitely, in this reading, I do not get he caught a glimpse of her and that was all she wrote. I don't get that at all. She had a purpose and a strength, and she was attracted by his position, who he was. Now, that's not to say that there's not affection and love there. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is, if he'd have been a janitor, she probably wouldn't have given him 2 glances. If he'd have been a janitor, he'd still be being roughshod by his partner in marital life, his domestic partner, because he's got this passive personality. Very different personalities. The guy who won't be king and the woman who tames the lion. That's exactly what you've got going on here. Her presence, this relationship was a gigantic paradigm shifter for his family, for the whole structure, the whole hoo-ha. And it's in the environment of the hermit. And I think what this is saying is that the relationship itself challenged this institution, shook it to its core, and really brought a reevaluation of it in the eyes of the public and in the eyes of all these stuffed shirt people who think this matters. But I do believe there was some affection there. The Ace of Cups. I don't think he could have put up with her if there wasn't some affection there. But the outcome is he's evaluating what has been wrought, what decisions have been made, and he's not happy. Okay, this is what I'm getting for their relationship. It shook up the institution of royalty in England. It was absolutely intentional on her part. He's submissive, deferential. Let's do a card reading for each of them. I'm going to use a completely different deck of cards here. Let's do a card reading first for him and then for her. And let's just see what the cards say. I don't have a question. We'll leave it open-ended. This is just about him. Okay. Oh my God, this is a very, very unhappy person who really regrets his choices. It's remarkable, these cards. At the heart, already we get the Three of Swords. And it's crossed by the Seven of Wands. He is crushed by the reality that he's always defending her. I guess he's always defending her. He's always having to defend their relationship and their situation and the choices and what they say and what they do. And he's crushed. This is just not in a good place. In the atmosphere, the Queen of Swords. This is her. She's wielding a sword against his family ties, against the traditions of his institution. The Queen of Swords can be kind of surgical, cold. And, you know, she's the one who said, okay, we're cutting off your family, and moved him away. And he regrets it. The Five of Coins. He's very regretful. So in the recent past, the Ace of Coins reversed. They took on this new attitude. We're done with all this stuff. We don't want what you're giving us. We want to be independent. I'll tell you, South Park a while back did a really funny episode on the Harry and Meghan privacy tour. And they go all around the world picketing and demonstrating, going on television, getting on big shows, you know, like the morning shows, and holding up signs, we want privacy. It was hilarious. I think there's a lot of regret here. They cut off their nose to spite their face. That's what comes to my mind. The Six of Cups. He's rejected his familial past. He's rejected his ties to his family legacy. That's the word I was looking for. The Knight of Coins. This is about him. He is the Knight of Coins. He's this sort of non-melodramatic, not dramatic, not terribly outwardly assertive, non-aggressive, kind of you know, that plodding kind of thing. And he has, the knight, very appropriate, and he has simply rejected everything. I mean, I imagine this shook up. Well, it's in the environment of the world reversed. I think this really shook up his world, literally and figuratively. I hold no value in monarchical structures and institutions. I think they're of no value. They're historical anomalies. We should have evolved beyond that. I have no respect at all. Sorry, I know I'm offending people. No respect at all for people who are merely figureheads, who they haven't had to wash a dish, weed a garden, pay a bill, live a normal life, their whole entire lives. Everything is handed to them. When all of your material needs are met. And more importantly, when everybody you meet is deferential, when people feel they are required to learn how to curtsy before they can be introduced to you, there is something wrong. It's toxic and it's wrong. No person is better than another person. I knew I was going to get into this. Is why I don't do cards on them. And the whole institution dedicated to maintaining this hierarchy, supporting the traditions. I saw an article not long ago about the crowns, the amount of money and value in the garbage they put on their heads when they want to look important could feed the world. I don't understand it. And there are people who are very invested in honoring them, and they're all about them, and they collect cups with their faces. I don't get it. So he, rejecting all of this, has overturned his world, literally and figuratively, made them question, do we really need these people? We're paying our taxpayer money for them. Their relationship is not in a good place. The Two of Cups reversed. They're not as they might have been when they were first together. And look at the outcome. This is terrible. The Ten of Coins reversed, breaking from his family heritage, family legacy. And the Ten of Cups reversed, breaking from his immediate family. So his family of origin and his immediate family. This is a tragedy. This is a tragedy of Shakespearean proportions. But I think what comes to my mind, and I think this is really important to point out, there's too much knee-jerk reaction to blame her. It's her fault. If she hadn't come along, she's a home wrecker. She's a family wrecker. She's a nobility wrecker. I don't think that's fair. He's a full adult. And he's an adult who's had a very easy life. Yes, he lost his mother. And that's, that's sad. That's not easy. But lots and lots of people lose somebody they love when they're children. Parents, grandparents, siblings. But they have to pick themselves up the next day and punch in at work. They have to deal with the reality of life. He has been insulated from the reality of life. And I just think so much of what the rest of us experience that form us as individuals, make us fully evolved human beings, he didn't have to go through. And this was probably his first big life decision that he made independently of his family, and it didn't go very well. So we need to allow him the responsibility, let him own responsibility for the decisions that he's made. Make your bed and now you have to lie in it. I really kind of feel that that's what I'm hearing here. It's just, okay, this is your life. You chose it. Now you have to make the most of it. You might consider the person you married. Your choice was not real great. I'm not surprised, given his upbringing. You get to see the results of the toxicity of his upbringing, in the reality of his present relationship. He's not happy. He's not happy in his relationship. He's not happy in the damage that he's done to his extended family. And he's not happy just as a person. That's sad. Now let's look at her. I know that she was an actress. I know that she's not best beloved by the public in England, but that a lot of people defend her because they feel it's racist, that the acrimony against her is racist. Like, I was late to the party. I didn't know anything about it. Now, what I do know about her, I've watched this guy that is a self-proclaimed a psychopath, and he does a YouTube channel where he talks about a lot of stuff like this. I haven't watched it in quite a while, but he did a really, well, I was amused, but then I'm coming from a different kind of place, series on her. And I found it interesting because he talks about what he considers her extreme narcissism. He's English, by the way, just to let you know. Okay, let's see what the cards say. I'm telling you. Okay, first let me remind you, this is a completely different deck of cards. So if you see repeat cards, it has nothing to do with poor shuffling. This is sad. Okay, at the very center, this is her at the center of her reading. The Seven of Swords crossed by the Queen of Wands. Wow. This is an individual who's got command of her life. I mean, she is in control. And she's very clear about what she wants. She takes things into her own hands and she goes after what she wants. And she's sneaky. She has ulterior motives. Now, please don't think that I'm doing this because I don't like her. I don't like her in the sense that I don't have a lot of respect for somebody who would want to marry in that family. That's all I know about her. But there is something hidden about her. In the atmosphere, we get the Ten of Swords. And I'm not 100% sure how to interpret this. Is this the pain that she brings with her to all the people that I think that's what it is. It's the pain that she inflicts on other people. It's the atmosphere around her is stabbing and stabbing and stabbing. And the foundation is the Three of Swords. She is the source of the emotional pain in this larger situation. And it's because of a lack of emotion, a lack of compassion for other people. This person is a narcissist. This is a person who's fully committed to her own needs, fine with causing pain to other people, lacking in empathy for other people, and more than happy to take what she wants and just back, that's the Eight of Cups, and just discard people, look at his family. She discarded his family. I have no great sympathy for them, but that is what she did. She caused a great deal of pain. And I get the Page of Swords, which is interesting because in his reading for her, we got the Queen of Swords because he sees her as dominant. The Page of Swords, she's got, this was a plan. And she was willing to cut whatever she had to cut. She was willing to say and do whatever she had to. She's very smart. But it's in the environment of the High Priestess. For a second, my mind went blank and I thought it was the Empress. The High Priestess, this is about hidden knowledge, about knowing what she's going after. It's all internal, These two things together talk to me of somebody who's plotting and untrustworthy and kind of brutal, willing to do anything to get what she wants. What does she want? The Emperor. She really wanted him. She really wanted him. She went after him. Now we have an interesting outcome. I have to really think about this. Usually these things jump out at me. The Three of Pentacles, I guess this is talking about a plan, but it implies working with other people for a plan. I wonder, is it implying her family was in on this? I don't get that. We'll have to get a clarifier for this. Crossed by the Five of Cups. She was willing to do whatever to get what she wanted. I feel really bad. I feel like I'm really ragging on her. I didn't think I'd be doing that. Of course, he didn't get too great of a reading either. I'm going to have a couple of cards for a clarifier for that outcome. That outcome to me, there's a plan that caused pain. Yeah, that's what it's saying. But there's something else implied there. Don't know what it is. The Ace of Swords. She was willing to take action, be very precise and cutting. She will say whatever. She's not concerned about how it's received. She'll say what she thinks is what she wants to say, and she doesn't care. The Two of Wands. Now we got the Three of Pentacles, which is working a plan, and then we get the Two of Wands, which is having your eyes on the future before you make a decision. It's a very sense of the very calculated. Then we get the Sun. Ego. So that whole thing about her being a narcissist. And he's the perfect foil for a narcissist because he's just wallowing in self-pity and feeling helpless and not really in charge of his own life. But it's not surprising. If you look at the toxicity in which he was raised. So let's do, where did my cards go? Here we go. Let's do a few Lenormand cards and ask what the future looks like for them. I guess it would be who you would ask. Let's ask what the future looks like in her eyes. Oh, this is really interesting. She's really worried that he's going to divorce her. She wants to keep them together. And she's really, really upset. That's not the right word. It's not strong enough of a word. She's panicked that this is not going to go well ultimately. Her plan is not going to go well. Okay. See what he thinks it's going to go. So she's fearing that he's going to split. I think they've had words about this. Whoa. The book and the letter. He's consulting lawyers. He's actually trying to see what he can do to get out of it. Wow. You heard it here first. He's looking for guidance. He's looking for illumination about what he's going to do. It's toxic and he wants out. The moon. He's thinking about leaving, and I don't think she knows truthfully that he's thinking about leaving. I think about the Six of Swords, that moving the boat into calmer water. And I also think of the moon card, which is like hidden information. He's thinking about leaving. Now, let's ask, what's likely to happen? She fears he's leaving. He's thinking of leaving. Oh, so we get the marriage, the ring, the marriage, the contracts. We get the park, the garden, the outdoors. This is a public eye. So their relationship is so adjudicated in the public. It's so observed. They're under the microscope all the time that their problems are really unavoidable. Everybody sees them. I don't have an answer for what's going to happen. I have an answer for why it's going to happen. These storm clouds, the situation, the marriage itself, this is karmic. There is some gigantic, which is really true for everybody, for everything. So I'm not saying anything earth-shattering here. But the stars, it's about achieving your goal. It's about fulfilling your destiny. It's about a karmic outcome. Well, that's not fair, you know, because we don't know what that karmic outcome is. We don't know what their destiny is. Okay, this is what I'm feeling about this. This relationship is intended, not in their heads, I mean, karmically, intended to shake up this institution and to shine a spotlight on the usefulness of it, the necessity of it, the wisdom of it. They're tools in that lesson, you know, and they're working out their own things, but that the nature of their relationship and what it has done to the institution of the nobility in England, the crown, has fulfilled some kind of destiny, some sort of karmic imperative. And I could tell you what I think should happen. That'd be cheating. So that's the cards I've got. I think that's the first time I've ever read on them. That was really interesting. It was not what I expected to see, although I'm not at all surprised. So thank you very much for watching. I truly appreciate it. I do take requests. I mean, now that I've stooped all the way to read about Harry and Meghan, I guess there's nothing I won't read on. Thank you so much for watching. It's always a pleasure, and slán go fóill. Slánte.